My local road bike ride is appropriately named the Tuesday Night Worlds, and it started back up this past month. So these are great high-intensity workouts where everyone just tries to get on the front and rip everyone else's legs off, and then sprint for the win. So I had some of you want to see some of this leg-stinging action, so I thought I would throw a few of them up. I had a few of you want to know what to expect if you wanted to go out and try to hang on with a fast group ride. I had a few of you just want to see us try to kill each other week to week. At the very least, I thought this would be fun to throw up. I'm gonna do this like quick and dirty, minimal editing, that kind of thing. If you like them, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel, let me know, and I will continue to do them. What I really want to focus on is the psychological side of the group ride. Am I a psychologist? Absolutely not, but I do have 10 plus years of experience with these kinds of group rides and racing and anything else cycling related, and like anything else, you kind of start to pick up on some things. Stuff starts to repeat itself. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's introduce the guys that are at the start of the A group rides. So you have your Keith, the owner of BSG and a user of the Tuesday Night Worlds to train for other big events like the Triple Crown of Pisgah that is coming up. Keith is riding a Propel that has been custom painted. Next up, this guy's super nice. He typically comes out and rides with the C group with Andy. Both Andy and him know how to ride a bicycle. Since the C group is a little lacking today, he decided to jump in with us. I think he is riding a Cannondale maybe? Then you have the guy that rides every ride like it is a race. Love you to death, Sean, but you know it's true. He is on a Bianchi Ultra. New to fast rides, on a Giant Contend, nice guy. You have the guy that will under no circumstances let himself get dropped. Be it train car or World War III, he is not getting dropped. He will suffer like a dog, he will kill himself, but his main objective is to never get dropped and finish with the lead pack. And he's on a felt, I'm not really sure which felt. You have the second newer guy to the fast rides. Nice guy on a Giant Defy. Then you have the young gun, college kid who has raced all year, and he went from barely hanging on to the A group ride at the beginning of last year to being one of the fastest in the A group ride at the beginning of this year, so nice job. And he is on a Cannondale CAD 10, I believe. Then we have the Tom. He is riding a specialized, is it a tarmac? I think. I don't know. It's all black. It's red and all black Specialized. So number one, guys, I am extremely picky when it comes to group rides. If I see a group ride and they say, hey, we leave out from so-and-so and we're gonna hit 73 and ride that for 3 miles, I'm like, dude, I'm out. I'm not doing that. It doesn't matter who's wrong. If somebody hits you, you're still dead. I really take that to heart. I pick extremely safe roads to ride on, roads that typically have a speed limit of about 35. They're all back roads, and I pick decent times of day to ride. I try not to inhibit anybody. If it looks like a dangerous route, I tend to just not go. Now this climb here, this is the second one on the loop that I would consider an actual little climb. It's relatively steep, and this is where somebody else typically gets shelled off. So Alec picks it up immediately after Sean pulls off, which I figured was coming, and Tom was in line right after him, and he was doing fine, but what he should have done here is just pulled off and let someone else close the gap. And he even admitted that after the ride, that he knew exactly what he was doing, and he knew that it was going to put him in trouble, but he did it anyways. And sports are just, in general, they're funny that way, and I'm sure we have all been there. You know what you were doing isn't the best idea, but you do it anyways. I think Tom could have completely finished this ride with us. I just think he got into the red zone at this point. So he completely closed the gap down when Alec was pulling like a maniac up and over this climb. And then as soon as he closed the gap down to Alec, Alec pulls off. What does Tom do? Tom pulls through and pulls again. So he had a solid effort. I mean, that was really good. I know he doesn't think so, but it was a very good effort on his part. Alec did great too, not discounting his ride up the hill, but Tom did really good, but he blew himself up. So immediately when he pulls off and the pace stays high, you just couldn't get your heart rate back underneath you. You know, it's going to be pegged at 180 beats a minute to 200 beats a minute, and it's hard to get that back under you when the ride never dips below a certain threshold. So you got to be careful with that kind of stuff. We really try to keep everyone together in the A group within reason. So I know Tom's ability. That's why we sat up. Sean here and Alec kept pedaling. And me and Keith went back for Tom. Basically told Tom, dude, when we get up here, just sit on, try to recover. Don't pull, don't worry about it.
No man left behind. Stay hard. Then we get up here, just don't pull. And then at the end, you got to sprint.
I like to keep the group rides light, but right here was probably when Tom was telling me to just shut up, I'm trying to breathe. Think he was almost recovered a little bit, but this is a very long false flat road. It's very deceiving, so if you're doing over 20 on this road, you're hurting people. Something happened behind me. I turned around at one point and I saw there was a big gap and Sean was out of the saddle sprinting, so I don't know if Tom got flicked because of that, but I knew his heart rate had to be high, and that was it for him. Like, you can tell, like, visibly when someone is cooked and they're done and they're not going to be able to sit on, and when they're still trying. If someone's still pushing the pedals over, have their head down, they're in an arrow position, they're trying to catch back on, I'll typically try and help them out. Like, I'll go back for them. At this point right here, though, Tom, I could tell, was done. He was donezo. He wanted to ride by himself for a couple miles and cut the course a little bit. Maybe we could catch him. That's typically what I would tell people. But Tom, you're riding great. This is where the two groups typically meet each other, the A and the B group. The A group does a much longer route than the B group, but the two loops actually connect together here. Somehow we timed it perfect, and once we turned right, remember that guy I was telling you that can't get dropped and has to finish with the lead group no matter what? I looked over at Keith and I was like, I bet you Ralph's gonna like come barreling through here at us. And I turned around and sure enough, he blew up the group he was with. People were strung out everywhere, and here he comes with his elbows flared out. I was like, oh man, Terminator's coming. Group gets all back together, and here's one of my favorite sections of the entire ride. It is just a long, fast, flat road, and if you have a good group together that can pull hard, you can really rip through this. And Alec did a great job sitting on the front.
Don't do it.
So the only one left is Ralph at the back of the pack, and he's just trying to sit on and not die. But once we hit the actual climb, he couldn't hold with the pace, so it was just back to us four. This is the point of the ride where everyone starts to kind of look around a little bit. Everyone's trying to maybe recover. The initial sting is in everyone's legs at this point. Everyone is breathing hard, unless you are somebody that's literally just sitting on. Once we hit this climb, I was really trying to keep it just steady for Keith because he had sat on a few times, right? So I knew he wasn't feeling the best, still getting over this head cold thing. But Keith is a great climber, so I wasn't too worried about him.
Good job.
Then once we got back on Killian Farm Road, the inevitable happened. Sean, he just, boom, blew out a front tire. I have no idea what he hit. The road's a little rough right there, but he got a flat. Perfect place for a flat, though. There is a boat ramp right there. But it took us maybe 10 minutes to get that sucker changed. Went through 2 different tubes, because Sean's first tube was bad. And it took 3 CO2s to get that thing inflated. So we got him back on the road, but by God, if you have ever done a ride where your heart rate is 180 beats a minute for over an hour, and then you immediately stop, and then you try and start again, it sucks. Your legs hurt. They've kind of gotten cold again, so it takes you a minute. Takes you a minute to get back up to speed. So I was sitting third wheel here. Keith is behind me. He just pulled. I was waiting. I was wanting Sean maybe to go first. Always look behind you if it's a public road, if you're going for a sprint. But like I said before, Killian Farm Road is amazing and no cars are ever on it. So I look behind me. I start my sprint, right? I pull up alongside Alec, and I want to make sure someone else is going to sprint with me. And as soon as I saw him stand up, I'm like, let's go, boys.
There you go.
Man, I didn't really like this sprint as much as I was wanting because I really wanted Alec to have a great lead out. I wanted him to be able to sprint against me. So unless you're like a World Tour pro, I don't think you can really claim yourself as a good climber or sprinter because you always have stuff you need to get better on. But I have a proclivity for sprinting. I enjoy it. I'm good at it. Naturally, that's what I like to do. So hit the sprint, all in all, with that being my first, I'd say really 23 mile an hour average group ride on this rolling terrain of the year. I felt pretty good. My peak wattage for the ride was in that sprint, and it was like right at 1100, which isn't bad. To put that into perspective, on a good day, I can hit, I think the most I've ever done is about 1350-ish, but that was early in a ride. I was actually sprinting for training, so 1100 is not bad. I was happy with that, but I definitely need to sharpen my blade a little bit more. And there you have it. There is the latest and greatest edition of the Tuesday Night Worlds. I hope you all enjoyed. I hope it didn't bore you too much, and I hope it helped somebody. Make sure you tune in for the next one. I hope you all like it. Like I said, if you did, like and subscribe. And I will see everybody in the next video. Hopefully I will get a revolt video coming soon. All right, love you all. Bye-bye.